Good morning, everyone. It's Michael Hearn, creator of WritingBetterResumes.com. Today, we're going to talk about how to make a resume. We're going to cover what are the 4 resume formats and when should you use them, plus a quick 3-step process for creating targeted resumes. So the 4 resume formats are chronological, functional, chrono-functional hybrid, and a curriculum vitae. The chronological resume format is the traditional resume format. It starts with your contact information, then has an objective statement, and then jumps right into your work history or employment history. And it lists each job you've had for the past 15 or more years in reverse chronological order. So you start with the job you have now or the last job you had and work your way backwards. That puts the focus on your work history. This is a good resume format for someone who's worked for a long time in one career, and it's a great way to demonstrate a steady progression of skills, experience, responsibility, etc. within a given field. If you have that, showcase it. So this is the resume of choice for someone that has that good work history and is looking for a new job in the same field. Okay, so the next resume format is the functional resume format. The functional resume format takes the emphasis off of employment history and steady work history and places the emphasis squarely on your ability to do the job. It's going to sell your ability to do the job over everything else. And the way it does that is by its organization and the way it presents the information. So you'll start with your contact information and have an objective statement. That's always going to be the same on all the resume formats. But what happens next, instead of having employment history or work history, you're going to list a skills section. And you will list skills as the headings for your work experience. And you will group your work experience under skill sets. So for the administrative skills skill set, you might have experience from 3 different jobs under that skill setting, under that skill set heading. Whereas under the chronological format, you listed a job title and then your work experience at that job. The experience was grouped by job and date. In the functional resume format, that is not the case. Experience is grouped by like. Whenever the work experience requires a similar skill set, it's grouped together. So the time to use a functional resume format is when you do not have a steady work history within the field that you're seeking a job in. So if you've always been in IT and you want to move over to marketing, this might be a good format for you. More likely, though, if you have gaps in your employment, if you don't have a lot of work history because you're a student, or you've been a student, or if you've been self-employed for a long time, it's a great format for you because it takes the emphasis off of your work history and places the emphasis on your ability to do the job. Now, if you're a career changer, this next resume format is going to be great for you. Let me explain to you how it's set up before we talk about why it's such a good format for a career changer. So the next is a chrono-functional hybrid, and this really falls into two patterns of organization. It's either going to be chrono-functional or functional-chrono in its organization. What I mean by that is you're going to have your contact information at the top of the page. The objective statement is next. Then you're either going to have your employment history or you're going to have a skills section. So it's going to lead with one of those. How do you pick which one you lead with? Whichever one makes you look the best for the job you're applying to, that's the one you lead with. So whichever one you lead with, that's where you're going to list your work experience. So if you go with the chronological format first, you're going to start with the employment history first, then you're going to list your job titles, dates, and then the experiences you had at that job. You go back to the job you had before that, do the same thing, and the job before that, the same thing. If you choose to highlight your skills over your employment history, then you will have a skill heading, experience from multiple jobs under that, another skill heading, experience from multiple jobs under that, so on and so forth, until you feel like you've sold yourself adequately as having the ability to do that. Okay, what happens next, though, is you're going to put the other sections. So if you chose to lead with your work experience, the next section will be a skills section. Now, under this skills section, you're not going to list experience, typically, because you're not going to have room for it. But you can list just bulleted lists of the skills that you possess that qualify you for the job you're applying to. This is a great way to highlight soft skills whenever you've got an abundance of work history. So if you choose the chrono-functional hybrid, you lead with your work experience. You've got a solid work history, a steady progression of skills, responsibilities, etc. in a field. But you've also taken the time to develop your people skills, to develop other skills that are necessary, team building skills, being a self-starter. You can list these things that complement what you've already presented and make you appear to be a more well-rounded person under a skills section of your resume. And then you can go on and list your education and any awards and achievements you have after that, if there's room, and you can keep it under 2 pages, or fit what you can, fit the most relevant information into the pages that you have. Now let's talk about the functional chronological hybrid. So where you lead with your skills section. So it's your contact information, objective statements, skills, your list of work experience under that, and then there's going to be a section called employment history, just like there is on a chronological resume. Except in this case, you're not going to list your work experiences under the job titles and dates. You will just list them as a list. So it'll be job, company name, job title, date started, date ended, new line, company name, job title, date started, date ended, new line, company name, job title, so on and so forth. So it's just going to be a list. And why would you choose to do this? So the skills section can focus on your ability to do the job, whereas this section will still show that you are reliable, that you're capable of working and progressing within a given field over time. So this is the resume format you might choose if you're doing a career change. So you're going to lead with your ability to do the job, but then you're going to back it up with a steady employment history. So it takes, you can't demonstrate, excuse me, a steady progression of skills in a new career field. But you can demonstrate that you have the skills that transfer over and that you're reliable and capable of becoming that person in this new career. So good choice for career changers is the functional chrono hybrid. Okay, the final one we're going to talk about is the curriculum vitae. This is used when you've got a lot of publications or you're in the education field. Typically not used anywhere else, and if you're ever supposed to use this format, it will be specifically requested. Otherwise, don't worry about it.